The clink of his spoon against porcelain, her light laugh, they're sounds I know too well. Here we are again. Same cafe, same betrayal. The bitter espresso smell, thick in the air, mixes with the damp, earthy scent of rain-soaked wool from my coat. It's almost a comfort, this predictability. I watch them through the steamy window, Mark and Sarah, my boyfriend and my best friend. His hand is on her arm, his thumb stroking circles, her head is tilted, the familiar look of adoration on her face, adoration that used to be for me. It's a scene ripped from my nightmares, or rather, my past life. I've seen this play out before, every agonizing detail. Last time I was the one waiting outside. The rain plastered my hair to my face, my clothes clinging uncomfortably. I'd seen them through this very window, him comforting her after some manufactured crisis. He'd said he needed to talk to her alone, that she was fragile. I believed him. I always believed him. This time there's no naive trust, no heartbroken tears. Just a cold, hard clarity. I lift my phone, the screen a stark contrast to the muted, rainy day. Click. The photo is clear, perfectly framed. Mark's earnest expression, Sarah's feigned vulnerability. They don't even notice me. A small, almost imperceptible smile touches my lips. I turn and walk away, the rain a gentle patter on my umbrella. The apartment feels alien, a stage set for a life that's no longer mine. The key turns smoothly in the lock, a familiar sound. But I'm different. The rain taps against the windows, tiny, insistent fingers, a soundtrack to my quiet packing, essentials only. Toothbrush, a change of clothes, my laptop, the small velvet-lined box I've kept hidden. My so-called friends, Mark, the charming, gaslighting boyfriend, so adept at twisting reality. Sarah, the best friend who coveted everything I had, her loyalty as thin as cheap lace. My sister Amelia, the master manipulator, always with her hand out, her eyes calculating. And then there's Chloe, my roommate, the quiet enabler, always looking out for herself, content to ride on my coattails while subtly undermining me. In my last life, I gave them everything. My time, my energy, my money, my heart. I propped them up, smoothed their paths, cleaned their messes. And they, in turn, systematically dismantled me, piece by piece, until there was nothing left. This rebirth, 3 months ago, was a shock. A disorienting plunge back into a life I thought was over. But the shock quickly gave way to a chilling resolve. I've been planning, meticulously, every smile, every shared coffee, every late-night call has been a carefully constructed facade. This time, I'm not the victim. I'm the architect. My phone buzzes on the bed. A text from Amelia. "Hey, have you seen Mark? He's not answering his phone." I almost laugh. Let the games begin. I ignore Amelia's text, and the string of messages that follow from Sarah and then Mark. They can stew in their manufactured concern. My old phone, the one they all have the number for, is now on silent, tucked away in a drawer. My new phone, the one with a number only I know, is fully charged in my purse. The lobby of the Atherton Hotel is opulent, a world away from the cramped, cluttered apartment I just left. The scent of lavender and something vaguely citrusy, expensive toiletries hangs in the air. Crisp, cool air brushes my face. This is the life I denied myself before, always putting their needs, their wants, before my own. "Checking in," I say to the concierge, my voice calm, steady. I slide the new credit card across the marble counter. It's in a name they wouldn't recognize, linked to an account they know nothing about. One of the first things I did after waking up. After the initial disorientation, the crushing weight of reliving that final, awful day, a strange, icy calm had settled over me. I started moving, systematically, selling off the few pieces of jewelry my grandmother had left me, pieces Mark had always called gaudy. Opening new accounts, securing a small safety deposit box, squirreled away money bit by bit. Every penny a step towards this moment. Room service. I order things I'd never dared to before. Champagne, oysters, a ridiculously decadent chocolate lava cake. I eat slowly, savoring each bite. The crisp hotel sheets a stark contrast to the worn-out bedding I'd shared with Mark. Laptop open, I log into the dummy social media accounts I created. Time to watch their carefully curated worlds begin to unravel. Panic is a beautiful thing to observe from a distance. They'll be messaging each other now. A flurry of lies and half-truths. My new phone rings, vibrating against the polished mahogany of the bedside table. Mark's old number. The one I still have programmed in. He found out my new number from Amelia, no doubt. Predictable. I let it ring. A small, satisfied smile playing on my lips as I line up the first domino. I let it ring 3 more times before I answer, my voice a perfect imitation of sleepy confusion. Mark? What's wrong? Hey, babe, sorry, did I wake you? His voice is laced with that practiced concern I know so well. Just working late, you know how it is. Lies. They slide off his tongue so easily. I almost pity him, almost. Oh, okay, everything all right? Yeah, fine, just a long day. Listen, can we meet tomorrow, our cafe, say 11? He wants to gauge my reaction, see if I suspect anything. He needs to control the narrative. Sure, I say, my voice light, breezy. Sounds good. I'm pretty tired, though. Think I'll head to bed. Okay, babe, sleep well. He hangs up. I place the phone down, the silence of the luxury hotel room a stark contrast to the chaos I know is brewing in their little world. The first public reveal. It's all set. Tomorrow at our cafe. How fitting. For the first time since I woke up in this second chance, I sleep soundly, deeply. No nightmares of betrayal. No cold dread gripping my heart. I dream of open skies, of wind in my hair, of a lightness I haven't felt in 2 lifetimes. I wake to the gentle chime of my new phone. 27 missed calls from various numbers I recognize, and 1 cryptic text from Amelia. Timestamped 3:17 a.m. We need to talk. Now. I stretch, luxuriating in the king-sized bed. Let them wait. Today is going to be a very interesting day. The coffee shop Amelia chose is aggressively trendy, all exposed brick and struggling succulents. The air is thick with the smell of burnt coffee, and her perfume, that cloying, overly sweet scent that always gave me a headache. She's already there, tapping an immaculately manicured nail against her phone. There you are, she says, her voice a little too bright. I was starting to worry. In my past life, Amelia's worry was always a precursor to a request. Can I borrow some money, sis, just until next week? Next week never came. She borrowed my clothes, my ideas, even a significant job opportunity I'd worked tirelessly for, convincing my then boss that she was the more dynamic candidate. I let her. Family, right? Sorry I'm late, I say, settling into the uncomfortable metal chair. I order a black coffee. No frills. So, she begins, leaning forward, her eyes narrowed. You've been different lately. I sip my coffee. It's bitter, just like I like it. Different how? Distant. You didn't answer any of my calls last night. Mark was worried sick. She tries for a sympathetic tone, but the calculation in her eyes is impossible to miss. He's going through a lot right now, you know. He needs you. Guilt. Her favorite weapon. It used to work every time. Now it's like watching a child try to manipulate an adult. I keep my expression neutral. Is he? Yes. And then you just disappear? It's not like you. Maybe I'm just tired of being like me, I say, a hint of steel in my voice that makes her blink. She recovers quickly. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Mark and I were actually looking at some apartments yesterday. You know, just to help him get his mind off things. He's thinking of a bigger place, maybe something with a home office. Her smile is saccharine. She's testing me, trying to see what I know, what I'll tolerate. Helping him? Or helping herself to a better living situation with Mark footing the bill? The unspoken message hangs in the air. He's moving on, with or without you. And I'm right there to help him do it. My phone buzzes. A notification, perfect timing. The office is an assault of fluorescent lights buzzing like trapped insects overhead. It's the same soul-crushing place I worked in my previous life. The place where Chloe, my roommate and colleague, systematically took credit for my work. As I walk towards my cubicle, I hear her voice, hushed but carrying, from the break room. Total mental breakdown, I think. Just vanished. Mark is beside himself. Honestly, I've been worried about her for weeks. So erratic. Chloe. Always the concerned friend, the quiet observer, while simultaneously sharpening her knives. Last time it was the Miller account. My strategy, my late nights, my meticulous research. She presented it as her own. A few minor tweaks here and there. Our boss, Mr. Henderson, lapped it up. She got the promotion that should have been mine. I remember the way she'd looked at me. A flicker of triumph in her eyes before the mask of sympathy slipped back into place. I slide into my chair, the worn fabric sighing beneath me. I boot up my computer, ignoring the pitying glances from a few coworkers. Let them whisper. Let them believe Chloe's narrative. I open the file for the Phoenix Project. It's the culmination of months of secret work, a project far more ambitious and innovative than anything Chloe could ever conceive. Something I started building the moment I realized I had a second chance, a way out, a way up. My computer chimes. An email from Mr. Henderson's assistant. Mr. Henderson would like to see you in his office at 10 a.m. regarding some concerns about your performance. Concerns? Right on schedule. Chloe's been busy planting her seeds of doubt. My phone rings. The new one. It's Sarah. Her voice is choked with tears, a performance worthy of an Oscar. Oh my God, Alex, thank God you answered. I've been so worried. I keep my voice even. What's wrong, Sarah? It's Mark, she wails. He came on to me. I swear I pushed him away. I told him no, but he was so insistent. He said you two were having problems, that you'd been distant. I didn't know what to do. The lies are so audacious, so... Sarah. She always thrived on drama, on being the center of attention, the damsel in distress. And I was always the one to rush in, to soothe, to fix. I remember countless nights spent listening to her relationship woes, her career anxieties, her endless stream of self-inflicted crises. I was her rock, her confidant. And all the while, she was chipping away at my own foundations. I reach into my bag, my fingers closing around the tiny digital recorder I've carried with me for the past week. I press the record button. A small, satisfying click. He did what, Sarah? I prompt gently. He tried to kiss me at the cafe. He said he had feelings for me, that you and he were basically over. Alex, you have to believe me. I would never... Her voice breaks on a sob. The taste of copper fills my mouth as I bite the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing. The cafe. Of course. She's trying to preemptively poison the well, to discredit anything Mark might say, or anything I might have seen. I'm so confused, Alex, she sniffles. I need you. Can we please meet? I need to talk to you. I really, really need my best friend right now. Okay, Sarah, I say, my voice a soothing balm. We can meet. How about tomorrow? My old place? Say around 7 in the evening? Oh, thank you, Alex. You're the best. I knew you'd understand. Relief floods her voice. I end the call. My smile is thin, sharp. I open my laptop, draft a quick email, attach a small, innocuous-looking audio file, and hit send. The recipient, Mark. The subject line: something you should hear. Mark arrives at my office an hour later, a ridiculously large bouquet of lilies clutched in his hand. Lilies. He knows I hate lilies. The cloying scent makes my stomach turn. It's a power move, a public display designed to make me look unreasonable. He strides towards my cubicle, his face a mask of wounded concern. Several coworkers stop typing, their heads turning. Showtime. Alex, thank God, he says, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear. I've been so worried. You just disappeared. What's going on? He tries to hand me the flowers. I don't take them. I needed some space, I say quietly, my voice calm. Space? From what? From me? He looks genuinely bewildered, a look he's perfected over the years. If this is about what you think you saw at the cafe yesterday, you completely misunderstood. Ah, the classic gaslighting. You're imagining things. You're too sensitive. That's not what happened. In my past life, his ability to make me doubt my own perceptions, my own sanity, was his most potent weapon. He'd chip away at my reality until I was a bundle of confusion and self-doubt, pliable and easy to control. I don't think I misunderstood anything, Mark, I say, my voice still even. Alex, please, he says, lowering his voice slightly, though it still carries. You're overreacting. Sarah was upset. I was just comforting her. You know how she gets. He's trying to draw me into an argument, to make me look hysterical. My coworkers are watching, their expressions a mixture of discomfort and curiosity. I remain silent, my gaze fixed on him. He sighs, running a hand through his perfectly tousled hair. Look, can we just talk about this? Properly? Not here. My computer chimes. An email notification. I glance at the screen. Subject: something you should hear. From Mark. The body of the email is empty, but I can imagine his fury, his panic. I look back at Mark, his face now tinged with a new layer of anxiety. The confident facade is cracking. Are you finished? I ask, my voice devoid of emotion. I knew it was coming. The moment I agreed to meet Sarah at my old apartment, the one I shared with Chloe, I knew they'd orchestrate this. An intervention. How delightfully predictable. I let myself into the apartment. The air already thick with a tension you could cut with a knife. They're all there, arranged in the small living room like a panel of judges. Amelia perched on the arm of the sofa, a concerned frown etched on her face. Sarah curled in the corner, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. Mark standing by the window, arms crossed, trying to look imposing. And Chloe, hovering by the bookshelf, the silent observer, always calculating her next move. Alex, thank God you're here, Amelia says, her voice oozing false sympathy. We were so worried. We need to talk, Mark says, his tone more forceful now. The desperate boyfriend act from the office has been replaced by a sterner, more authoritative persona. We're worried about you, Alex, Sarah chimes in, her voice still thick with unshed tears. This isn't like you. Disappearing, not answering your phone. Chloe finally speaks, her voice soft, almost apologetic. We just want to make sure you're okay. You've seemed stressed lately. They take turns, a well-rehearsed chorus of concern, each one subtly weaving in their own narrative, their own justifications, their own attempts to paint me as the unstable one, the one at fault. I sit on the edge of the worn armchair, the only remaining seat, and listen. I observe their nervous glances at each other, the slight tremor in Mark's hand, the way Sarah avoids my gaze. They're an orchestra of deceit, and I'm the audience. They finally wind down, their accusations and pronouncements hanging heavy in the air. The silence stretches, taut and uncomfortable. I stand up. "Thank you," I say, my voice clear and steady, cutting through the oppressive atmosphere. "Thank you all for your concern." I pause, letting my gaze sweep over each of their faces. Now I have something I need to show you. I pull out my new phone, the sleek, unfamiliar device, a symbol of my new life. With a few taps, I bring up the photo. The one from the cafe. Mark's hand on Sarah's arm, their faces close, oblivious to the world, to me. I hold it out, the image stark and undeniable in the dim light of the apartment. Silence. Then, chaos. "What is this?" Mark sputters, his face paling. "Alex, this isn't what it looks like." Sarah bursts into fresh tears, a torrent this time. "He's lying! He told me you two were practically broken up. He forced himself on me." Amelia, ever the opportunist, immediately switches gears. Her eyes, moments ago filled with feigned concern for me, now shoot daggers at Mark and Sarah. "How could you?" she exclaims, her voice dripping with theatrical outrage, conveniently positioning herself as my protector. "To your own sister's boyfriend! And you, Mark, after everything Alex has done for you?" Chloe, predictably, stays silent, her eyes darting between the three of them, calculating, assessing the damage, weighing her options. Loyalty is a foreign concept to her. Self-preservation is her creed. Their voices escalate, a cacophony of accusations, denials, and crocodile tears. Mark and Sarah are shouting at each other, then at Amelia, who gives as good as she gets. It's a symphony of their own making. I don't say a word. I simply watch them unravel. The sound of their escalating voices becomes a dull roar, white noise. My focus is on the door, on the escape route. I turn and walk out, leaving them to their self-inflicted storm. As the apartment door clicks shut behind me, I pull out my phone. A new email notification, a confirmation. The next domino has fallen. The sound of their shouting fades as I descend the stairs, a strange sense of peace settling over me. The CEO of Innovatech Solutions, Mr. Davies, has a firm handshake and eyes that don't miss a thing. His office is minimalist, modern, all glass and steel, overlooking the city. A world away from the drab, soul-crushing environment of my old job. "Miss Evans," he says, gesturing to a chair, "your portfolio was impressive. But this Phoenix project you outlined, it's revolutionary." I smile. "Thank you, Mr. Davies. It's something I've been passionate about for a long time." In my past life, my ideas were like seeds scattered on barren ground. Chloe, with Mr. Henderson's implicit approval, would pluck the most promising ones, repackage them as her own, and reap the rewards. The Miller account was just the most blatant example. There were countless smaller instances, a slow, steady erosion of my confidence and my career. "Passionate is one word for it," he says, a hint of admiration in his voice. "Ambitious is another, potentially game-changing a third." He slides a contract across the polished desk. "We want it, Miss Evans, and we want you to lead it." The signing bonus is more money than I've ever seen in one place. The salary, the benefits, the leadership position, it's everything I'd never even dared to dream of in my previous life. I sign my new name, the name I've chosen for this new life, with a steady hand. The crisp contract paper feels cool and substantial beneath my fingers, smelling faintly of ink and new opportunities. "We're having an informal office party tomorrow evening," Mr. Davies says, as his assistant whisks the signed contract away. "A small get-together for the team. I'd like to announce your appointment then. A bit of a surprise." "I'd like that very much," I say. As I'm leaving the Innovatech building, my old phone, the one I keep for precisely these moments, rings. It's Mr. Henderson, my soon-to-be ex-boss. His voice is tight, strained. "Alex, I've been hearing some rumors. We need to talk." Rumors. How quickly word travels in their small, incestuous world. Too little, too late. The bank is cool and quiet, the scent of money and old paper a comforting backdrop. The bank manager, Miss Albright, is efficient, professional. She has the paperwork ready. "Closing the joint account with Mr. Mark Olson," I say, my voice firm. "And this joint savings account with Miss Amelia Hayes." Financial dependence. It was another chain they used to bind me. Mark always handled the major finances, subtly making me feel incompetent, incapable. "Don't worry your pretty little head about it," he'd say, patting my hand. Amelia always had a sob story, a desperate need, and I, foolishly, would open my wallet, my accounts, to her. Trapped. Always trapped. I watch as Miss Albright processes the closures, her fingers flying across the keyboard. The funds are transferred to my new accounts, the ones established under my new identity, the ones they know nothing about. Accounts that are solely mine. "Everything seems to be in order, miss." She pauses, checking the name on my new ID. "Miss Sterling, you're very organized." "I've learned the importance of it," I say, signing the final forms on the cool marble countertop. A sense of lightness, of freedom settles over me. Another set of chains broken. My new phone vibrates. A frantic call from Amelia. I let it go to voicemail. A few minutes later, a text. "Alex, the rent payment for the apartment bounced. What's going on? Landlord is freaking out. Call me now." I almost smile. Let her freak out. It's no longer my concern. The industry networking event is buzzing, a sea of suits and polite smiles. Champagne flutes clink, a counterpoint to the low hum of conversation. Mark is here. I see him across the crowded room, hovering near the canapes, looking a little lost, a little desperate. Sarah is clinging to his arm, her eyes darting around nervously. They're trying to project an image of normalcy, of a united front. It's almost pathetic. I take a flute of champagne from a passing tray, the bubbles tickling my throat. I greet a few acquaintances, people from my old company, from rival firms. They look surprised to see me, some with pity, some with curiosity. Mark is watching me, his nervousness palpable even from across the room. He knows something is coming. He just doesn't know what. Then, the announcements begin. Mr. Davies takes the small makeshift stage, his voice cutting through the chatter. He talks about innovation, about the future, about new talent. And then he says my new name, Miss Alex Sterling. "Joining Innovatech Solutions as our new head of special projects," he announces, his arm gesturing towards me. "Her vision for the Phoenix project is going to revolutionize our approach to—" The rest is a blur of applause, of surprised murmurs. I see Chloe, my ex-roommate, standing near the edge of the crowd. Her face is pale, her eyes wide with shock. The implications are dawning on her. Her carefully constructed web of lies, her stolen credit. It's all about to come crashing down. Mr. Henderson, my old boss, materializes at my elbow as I step away from the small crowd of well-wishers. His face is a mixture of shock and something else. Regret? "Alex," he says, his voice low, urgent. I had no idea. Look, we can talk. I can offer you a counter-promotion. We can make things right." Make things right? The audacity. I give him a cool, polite smile. "Thank you, Mr. Henderson, but I'm very happy with my new position." I turn and walk away, leaving him standing there, his mouth agape. The apartment, the one I shared with Chloe, feels strangely empty, even with my few remaining belongings still scattered around. I pack methodically, a sense of calm efficiency guiding my movements. With each item placed in a box, I feel a weight lifting from my shoulders. My old phone is a relentless barrage of notifications. Mark, a string of increasingly desperate texts. Alex, please, we need to talk. I messed up, I know, but I love you. Don't do this to us. Pathetic. Amelia, a series of angry demands. Where are you? You can't just abandon us like this. You owe me an explanation. Entitled, as always. Sarah, a long, rambling paragraph message, a masterpiece of self-pity and manipulation. Such a misunderstanding. Our friendship is sacred. I would never intentionally hurt you. Mark twisted everything. Predictable. And Chloe, a terse, clipped text. I expect you to show some professional courtesy regarding your departure. Worried about her own skin, naturally, I ignore them all. They are echoes from a life I've already shed. I seal the last box. My personal effects, the remnants of my old life, all neatly contained, ready to be moved to storage and then eventually discarded. A sharp knock on the door. Unexpected. I wasn't expecting anyone. I glance through the peephole. A woman I don't recognize. Slim, dark hair, her expression unreadable. Who could this be? I open the door a crack, my hand still on the knob. The woman outside offers a tentative smile. Alex Sterling? Or perhaps you still remember Alex Evans? My guard goes up. Who are you? My name is Rachel Levy. I'm Mark's ex, one of them anyway. She gestures vaguely. I saw the announcement about your new position at Innovatech. It's all over LinkedIn. Congratulations, by the way. When I saw your picture, your new name, I had a feeling, well, I wanted to reach out. Mark's ex. This is a complication I hadn't anticipated. Reach out about what? About Mark, about his patterns. I have information, evidence, things that might be helpful to you if you're looking to truly be free of him. She meets my gaze directly. He did a number on me, on others too. I saw your name, your success, and I thought, maybe you're strong enough to actually do something about it. The tea kettle whistles sharply from the kitchen, a shrill interruption to the sudden intensity of the moment. I hesitate for a second, then open the door wider. Come in. We sit in the sparsely furnished living room, boxes piled in the corners. I make tea, the familiar ritual calming my nerves. Rachel speaks, her voice low and steady, and as she talks, a chilling pattern emerges. Her stories mirror my own experiences with Mark. The charm, the subtle manipulation, the gaslighting, the way he isolated her from her friends and family. She has emails, screenshots of texts, even a few audio recordings, a meticulous collection of his betrayals. He has a type, Rachel says, stirring her tea, her eyes dark with remembered pain. Smart, ambitious women. He likes the challenge, I think, and then he likes to break them. An alliance. Unforeseen, but potentially powerful. Why help me now? I ask. Because no one helped me, she says simply, and because he needs to be stopped. Besides, she pauses, a flicker of something new in her eyes. There was always someone else involved, someone who seemed to facilitate things for him, someone who knew his girlfriends, who helped him manage the overlaps, the lies, someone who profited from it, I think. My blood runs cold. Who? Rachel looks directly at me. Your sister, Amelia. Amelia. The word hangs in the air, heavy and poisonous. It makes a sickening kind of sense. Rachel and I spend the next few hours comparing notes, spreading our evidence across the coffee table, her meticulously organized files, my own pieced-together recollections, and recently acquired documents. A dark tapestry of deceit begins to weave itself, with Amelia at its center. Flashbacks, sharp and sudden. Amelia coincidentally running into Mark and me when he was supposed to be meeting another woman, creating a diversion, a plausible alibi. Amelia borrowing my phone, my laptop, only for Mark to later possess information he shouldn't have known. Amelia always full of advice about how I should be more understanding of Mark's stress, more forgiving of his mistakes. And the money. Oh, the money. I pull out the bank statements I'd requested under subpoena, a move I'd initiated weeks ago, a hunch playing in the back of my mind. Small, regular transfers from our old joint account, the one Amelia had access to for household expenses, to an account I didn't recognize, skimmed systematically over years. Not huge amounts at any one time, but they added up. Enough for her to fund her lifestyle, her expensive tastes, while simultaneously playing the part of the struggling younger sister. Rachel has similar stories. Money Amelia invested for Mark from joint accounts he had with other women, investments that never seemed to materialize, the funds disappearing into a complex web of shell accounts. Amelia, the puppet master, pulling strings, facilitating his betrayals, and lining her own pockets in the process. The paper cuts on my fingers from sorting through old statements are a small, sharp sting, a physical manifestation of the deeper wounds of her betrayal. It's one thing to be betrayed by a lover, by a friend, but by your own sister, the one who shared your childhood, your history. It's a different kind of pain, a colder, more profound ache. I complete the documentation, a detailed record of Amelia's financial manipulations, her complicity. It's damning. My new phone buzzes. A voicemail from Amelia. Her voice is frantic, laced with a desperation I've never heard before. "Alex, please, we need to talk. You don't understand. There are family secrets. Things you shouldn't be digging into. Please, for the sake of the family, call me back. We can fix this. I can fix this." Family secrets. How ironic. She's the one who shattered any semblance of family we had left. My last day at the old office. It feels surreal, like walking through a dream. I pack the few personal items from my cubicle into a small box, a chipped mug, a wilted plant, a framed photo of a life that no longer exists. The fluorescent lights still buzz, a monotonous, oppressive drone. Chloe approaches my desk, her smile a little too bright, her eyes a little too shifty. "Alex, so, big news, huh? Innovatech, wow." She's fishing, trying to gauge my mood, my intentions. "No hard feelings, I hope, about, everything." "No hard feelings, Chloe," I say, my voice neutral. Later, as I'm walking past the break room, I overhear her on the phone. Her voice is low, conspiratorial. "Yeah, Henderson is furious, but I told him I can handle Sterling. I know all her old projects, her weaknesses. We can spin this. Make it look like Innovatech, poached unstable talent. A little professional sabotage never hurt anyone, right?" I almost laugh. The sheer audacity, the predictability. I walk back to my cubicle. I open my email. I attach the file, the one containing irrefutable proof of Chloe's plagiarism, her systematic theft of my intellectual property over the years. Emails, project drafts, Henderson's own notes inadvertently CCing me, showing her false claims of authorship. I send it to HR, to Mr. Henderson, and to the company's legal counsel. I pick up my box of belongings. It feels strangely light as I walk out of the office for the last time, the buzz of the fluorescent lights fading behind me. As I reach the lobby, my new phone chimes. A company-wide email from HR. Subject: urgent, Internal Investigation into Intellectual Property Theft. Chloe's reign is over. Sarah appears at my hotel later that evening, a ghost of her former self. Her usually immaculate makeup is streaked with tears, her expensive designer jacket rumpled. She looks desperate. "Alex, please," she begs, her voice raw. "You have to listen to me." I step aside, allowing her into the room. She collapses onto the plush armchair, a stark contrast to her disheveled appearance. The faint, cloying smell of Mark's cologne still clings to her jacket. A painful reminder. "He threatened me," she whispers, her eyes wide with fear. "Mark! He said if I didn't help him, discredit you, make you look like the crazy one, he'd reveal all my secrets." Secrets. Sarah always had secrets. Her carefully constructed image of the perfect friend, the loyal confidant, was built on a foundation of lies. "He said he knew about James," she continues, her voice barely audible. James. Her married lover from a few years back, a scandal she'd managed to keep carefully buried, a secret I had helped her keep. And other things I can't have getting out. I listen silently, my hand hovering near the small digital recorder in my pocket. I don't need to press record this time. Her desperation is making her careless, her words tumbling out in a torrent of confessions. She admits to fabricating the story about Mark coming on to her at the cafe. She admits to helping Mark spread rumors about my instability. She admits to years of jealousy, of coveting my life, my relationships, my successes. "I was weak," she sobs, "and scared. But I never wanted to hurt you, Alex. Not really. Please, you have to forgive me. I can fix this. I can tell everyone the truth. I can do anything. What do you want me to do?" Her words are a tangled mess of self-preservation and belated, hollow remorse. She's not sorry for what she did. She's sorry she got caught. I look at her. This woman I once called my best friend, this broken, pathetic creature. And I feel nothing. No anger, no pity. Just a vast, empty space where our friendship used to be. "What exactly, Sarah?" I ask, my voice quiet, devoid of inflection. "Do you mean by everything?" The dominoes continue to fall, each one triggering the next in a cascade of consequences. News of Mark's unprofessional conduct, his pattern of harassment and manipulation with multiple colleagues, fueled by Rachel's evidence and the anonymous tips I'd strategically leaked, begins to circulate within his industry. His reputation, once golden, is now tarnished, his career prospects rapidly dimming. Amelia's financial manipulations, her systematic skimming from family accounts, and her complicity in Mark's schemes are exposed to our extended family. The carefully curated image of the dutiful, caring sister shatters, replaced by the harsh reality of her greed and deceit. The family, once a source of comfort and support, is now a fractured landscape of accusations and recriminations. She is, I hear through the grapevine, facing not only social ostracization, but potential legal repercussions. Chloe, my former roommate and colleague, is placed on administrative leave from our old company, pending the outcome of the internal investigation into intellectual property theft. Her career, built on stolen ideas and a foundation of lies, is crumbling. Sarah, my former best friend, finds her social media flooded with angry messages from mutual friends, people who are finally seeing through her facade of victimhood and manipulation. Her carefully constructed social circle is imploding. The storm I unleashed is raging, but I stand at its center, untouched, serene. The sunshine breaks through the clouds as I walk through a park near my new, temporary apartment, a small, furnished place I'd secured weeks ago. I breathe deeply, the air fresh and clean. A sense of peace, of rightness settles over me. My new phone chimes, an email, an invitation. Not to a corporate event, not to a family gathering. An invitation to an exclusive, by invitation only industry salon, hosted by a reclusive tech mogul I've only ever read about in hushed, reverent tones. A new door is opening. The event is at a discreet, unmarked building in the city's most exclusive district. No flashing lights, no paparazzi. Just quiet, understated luxury. I'm wearing a simple, elegant black dress, a designer piece I bought with my first paycheck from Innovatech. A dress that whispers confidence, not shouts for attention. Inside, the atmosphere is hushed, a low hum of intelligent conversation. I'm introduced to a few people, innovators, investors, thinkers, their names recognizable from the headlines of business journals and tech blogs. And then a man with kind eyes and an unassuming demeanor approaches me. He introduces himself as Julian Vance. The Julian Vance. The reclusive tech mogul, a legend in the industry. "Miss Sterling," he says, his voice quiet but carrying an undeniable authority. "I've been following your career with great interest, even before Innovatech." I'm taken aback. "You have?" "Indeed." He gestures towards a quieter alcove. "I, too, experienced similar betrayals early in my career. People I trusted, people I considered family. It can be a crucible, forging strength or breaking you." His eyes hold a knowing look. A flashback, sudden and vivid. The first few weeks after my rebirth. The disorientation, the anger, the burning need for something. Justice? Revenge? I'd scoured the internet, looking for ways to rebuild, to fight back. I'd stumbled upon a mentorship program, an exclusive anonymous initiative for promising individuals who have faced significant adversity. Run by a then unnamed benefactor. I'd applied, pouring out my story, my plans, my desperate hope for a second chance. I never heard back, or so I thought. "That mentorship program," I begin, my voice barely a whisper. He smiles, a genuine, understanding smile. "Yes, your application was compelling. Your resilience, your clarity of purpose. It reminded me of myself many years ago." He pauses, his gaze thoughtful. "I believe in giving back, Miss Sterling, in nurturing talent that has been unfairly suppressed." He leans forward slightly. "I have a proposition for you, a partnership, something that could be beyond your wildest imagination." The subtle scent of old money and power in his private, art-filled office, where we retreat to talk further, is intoxicating. Not the brash, vulgar scent of new wealth, but something deeper, more established. The scent of empires built and legacies secured. Julian Vance, it turns out, is a man of many secrets, many connections. As we talk, as he outlines his vision for our potential partnership, he casually drops another bombshell. "I knew your grandmother, Eleanor," he says, his voice softening. "A remarkable woman, fiercely independent, a shrewd investor. She never suffered fools gladly." "My grandmother, estranged from my mother, and therefore from Amelia and me, for as long as I could remember. A distant, almost mythical figure. I knew very little about her, only the bitter, resentful stories my mother used to tell. She passed away recently," Julian continues, his eyes full of a gentle sympathy. "And she left you something substantial, something she kept hidden from the rest of your family." He explains that my grandmother, too, had experienced betrayals from her own family members, including my mother. She had seen the patterns, the greed, the manipulation, and she had taken steps to protect her legacy, to ensure it wouldn't fall into the wrong hands. A lawyer, a discreet, silver-haired woman named Miss Albright, a different Miss Albright, though the coincidence is startling, is ushered into the office, She presents me with a thick sheaf of documents, a will, a trust, deeds to property. My grandmother's entire estate, a fortune far larger than I could ever have imagined, is now mine, including the family's ancestral home, a sprawling country estate I'd only ever seen in faded photographs. The very home where Amelia and my mother currently resided, believing it to be theirs. The weight of an antique signet ring, my grandmother's, which Miss Albright hands me in a small velvet box, feels cool and heavy against my palm. A symbol of a legacy I never knew I had. My new phone rings. Amelia. Her voice is shrill, hysterical. "Alex, we got an eviction notice from some lawyer for our house. This is insane. You have to do something." I look at Julian Vance. He gives me a small, knowing smile. The pieces are falling into place, revealing a pattern, a plan, far grander than my own. My world transforms almost overnight. I move out of the small, temporary apartment and into a stunning penthouse in a building owned by Julian Vance. The view of the city skyline from my balcony makes the world seem small, conquerable. Julian introduces me to his circle, a diverse group of men and women, all leaders in their respective fields. Tech innovators, artists, philanthropists, financial wizards. They are all, in their own way, survivors. People who have faced betrayal, adversity, and have not only overcome it but have emerged stronger, more successful, more themselves. They offer me resources, connections, advice, access to a world I never knew existed, a world far beyond the petty squabbles and manipulations of my former life. They see my potential, my drive, and they nurture it. They don't want anything from me. They simply want to see me succeed. It's a new paradigm, one built on mutual respect and genuine support, not on exploitation and deceit. I begin to understand the true potential of this second chance. It's not just about revenge, about righting past wrongs. It's about building something new, something better, something lasting. An invitation arrives, embossed on heavy cream cardstock. An exclusive gathering of angel investors and venture capitalists, a pitching event for promising new startups, and on the list of presenters? Mark Olson, with his revolutionary new business idea, an idea I recognize with a sickening lurch as one I'd once shared with him in confidence, an idea he'd dismissed at the time as fanciful and unrealistic. He's trying to rebuild, to start over, using my stolen intellectual property. Again. But this time the game is different. The playing field has changed, and I'm no longer a pawn. I arrive at the investment gathering looking like I own the place. Because, in a way, I do. My outfit is a bespoke creation by a designer Julian introduced me to, a dress that commands attention without demanding it. Heads turn as I walk in, a low murmur of curiosity rippling through the room. Mark is mid-pitch, his voice full of forced enthusiasm. His PowerPoint slides a garish explosion of buzzwords and empty promises. He's describing his innovative new app, his disruptive technology. My idea. He freezes when he sees me, his eyes widening in disbelief, then dawning horror. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be broken, defeated, irrelevant. I take a seat in the front row, among the elite investors, Julian Vance at my side. I listen patiently as Mark stumbles through the rest of his presentation, his confidence visibly evaporating. When he finishes, there's a polite, hesitant applause. The moderator opens the floor for questions. I raise my hand. "Mr. Olson," I say, my voice calm, clear, carrying easily through the hushed room. "Your concept bears a striking resemblance to a project I developed several years ago, a project you yourself dismissed as unviable. Could you elaborate on the evolution of your idea?" Panic flashes in Mark's eyes. He stammers, tries to deflect, but the damage is done. The other investors, sensing blood in the water, follow my lead. Their questions become sharper, more probing. They pick apart his business plan, his financial projections, his market analysis. His dream, built on a foundation of theft and deceit, crumbles before his eyes. His voice cracks, his face flushes. He's exposed, humiliated. Julian Vance stands. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announces, his voice resonating with quiet authority. "I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce my new partner and the future of Vance Industries, Miss Alex Sterling." He gestures towards me. A true innovator, a visionary leader, and, I'm proud to say, my protege and successor. The room erupts in surprised applause. Mark stares at me, his face a mask of disbelief and despair. The power has shifted, irrevocably. The pieces click into place, forming a picture I'm only now beginning to fully comprehend. Julian Vance. My grandmother. The mentorship program. The inheritance. The connections. It hasn't been a series of fortunate coincidences. It's been a carefully orchestrated symphony of events, conducted by a master. Julian, it turns out, has been guiding me, subtly, since the moment I submitted that desperate application after my rebirth. He recognized the signs, the trauma, the fierce determination. Why? Because he too had experienced a rebirth. Not in the literal metaphysical sense that I had, but a rebirth of spirit, of purpose, after his own devastating betrayals. He saw a kindred soul in me, a reflection of his own journey. He didn't give me the answers. He didn't fight my battles for me. He simply opened doors, created opportunities, provided the resources I needed to fight them myself. He empowered me. Now I hold all the cards. Economic power, through my inheritance and my partnership with Julian. Social power, through my new network of influential allies. And the power of truth. The power of a life lived authentically, without apology. My old phone, the one I keep for sentimental reasons, or perhaps as a reminder of how far I've come, buzzes with a series of new messages. Mark, Amelia, Sarah, Chloe. Each one a desperate plea for a meeting, a chance to talk, a chance to make amends. I look at Julian. He's watching me, a knowing smile playing on his lips, his reflection mirrored in the polished mahogany of the boardroom table. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't need to. The choice, as always, is mine. Mark arrives at my new office at Vance Industries, looking like a man who hasn't slept in days. His expensive suit is rumpled, his hair disheveled. He's clutching a bottle of champagne, a cheap brand, I notice, and another bouquet of lilies. The scent of his cologne, once so intoxicating, now just smells of chemical desperation. "Alex," he says, his voice hoarse. "You look amazing." He tries for a charming smile, but it doesn't quite reach his eyes. I remain seated behind my large mahogany desk, the symbol of my new power, my new life. "Mark, what do you want?" I wanted to say, "I'm sorry." He sets the champagne and flowers on the edge of my desk. They look out of place in the sleek, minimalist office. I messed up, royally. I know that now. I was a fool, an idiot. I lost the best thing that ever happened to me. He takes a step closer, his eyes pleading. "I've changed, Alex. Truly. This whole experience, it's been a wake-up call. I realize now that you're the only one for me. My soulmate." He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small velvet box. He opens it. A diamond ring. Ostentatious, gaudy. So typically Mark. "Marry me, Alex," he says, his voice thick with emotion. "Let me spend the rest of my life making it up to you." He pauses, then adds, almost as an afterthought. "And, you know, that business idea, the app, maybe we could work on it together? With your connections, we could still make it happen." The audacity. Even now, even in this moment of supposed contrition, he's still looking for an angle, a way to profit from me. I look at the ring, then at his desperate, hopeful face. I don't say a word. I simply slide the velvet box back across the polished surface of the desk. No. The single word hangs in the air, stark and final. The hope drains from his face, replaced by a flicker of his old arrogance. Then, finally, a dawning understanding. It's over. Really over. Amelia chooses a different tactic. She appears at my penthouse apartment unannounced, clutching a battered shoebox. Her eyes are red-rimmed, her usual immaculate composure gone. She looks diminished. "Alex," she says, her voice trembling slightly. "Can I come in?" I hesitate, then nod. She follows me into the spacious living room, her eyes darting around, taking in the expensive art, the designer furniture, the panoramic city views, signs of a life she can no longer access. She sets the shoebox on the glass coffee table. "I brought these," she says, her voice soft. "Remember?" She opens the box. Childhood mementos, faded photographs, a chipped porcelain doll, a handful of seashells from a long-forgotten family vacation. Weapons of nostalgia, designed to tug at my heartstrings. "We had some good times, didn't we?" she says, her voice thick with unshed tears. "We were sisters. Unbreakable." She looks up at me, her eyes pleading. "I know I made mistakes, Alex. Huge mistakes. But you have to understand. Our childhood, it wasn't easy. Dad leaving, Mom always struggling. I did what I had to do to survive." Excuses. Justifications. Blame. Never accountability. "I'm ruined, Alex," she whispers, the carefully constructed facade finally crumbling. "The family. They've all turned against me. I'm facing legal trouble. I could lose everything." She looks at me, her eyes full of a desperate hope. You could help me. Alone, just to get back on my feet? For old time's sake? For family?" The manipulative sister, back in full force, albeit a more desperate version. I pick up the shoebox. I hold it out to her. "Our history, Amelia," I say, my voice quiet but firm, "doesn't obligate my future." Her hands tremble as she takes the box, clutching the faded photos of a past that no longer binds me. I show her the door. Sarah arranges to meet me at the cafe. Our cafe. The scene of so many betrayals, so many lies. It's a bold move, an attempt, perhaps, to rewrite history, to reclaim a narrative that is no longer hers to control. She's early, already seated at a small table in the corner, a steaming latte in front of her. She looks different. Smaller somehow. Less polished. She's holding a leather-bound journal. "Alex," she says, her voice subdued. "Thank you for coming." I order a black coffee. I don't sit. She pushes the journal across the table. I've been in therapy," she says. "A lot of therapy. This journal, it's everything. My thoughts, my feelings, my journey of self-growth." Her eyes are earnest, pleading. "I understand now, Alex. How much I hurt you. How much I betrayed our friendship." She takes a deep breath. "The truth is, it was worse than you know. My jealousy, my insecurity. It ran deeper than I ever admitted, even to myself. I sabotaged you in ways you don't even realize. Small things, big things. Because I wanted what you had. I wanted to be you." Her confession hangs in the air, raw and ugly. It's the closest she's ever come to genuine remorse. "But I'm changing, Alex," she says, her voice gaining a desperate conviction. "I'm working on myself. I'm trying to be a better person." She looks up at me, her eyes shining with tears. "Please, Alex, can we have a second chance? A chance to rebuild our friendship? I'll do anything. I'll be the friend you always deserved." I look at the untouched latte, the steam slowly disappearing, the coffee growing cold between us. I look at her, this woman who was once my closest confidant, now a stranger revealing her rotten core. "Your growth, Sarah," I say, my voice gentle but firm, "is your journey, not my responsibility." I turn and walk out of the cafe, leaving her with her journal, her cold coffee, and the wreckage of our past. Chloe approaches me after an industry conference. I'm a keynote speaker now, a respected voice in my field. She, I hear, is still struggling to find her footing after the scandal at our old company. She's wearing an expensive new suit, a desperate attempt to project an image of success she hasn't achieved. It fails to hide the nervous sheen of sweat on her forehead. "Alex," she says, her voice a little too loud, a little too forced. "Great speech, really inspiring." "Thank you, Chloe," I say, my tone polite, distant. "Listen," she says, leaning in conspiratorially. "About what happened at the old place. I know things got complicated. There were professional miscommunications." She offers a tight, nervous smile. Professional miscommunications. A rather generous euphemism for systematic plagiarism and backstabbing. "But I've been thinking," she continues, her eyes gleaming with a familiar, opportunistic light. "You and me, we always made a good team, despite our differences. And now, with your connections, your new platform, and my tenacity, we could do great things together. We could dominate the industry." She's proposing a partnership. The sheer, unadulterated gall. I look at her desperate ambition, her complete lack of self-awareness. And for the first time in a long, long time, a genuine laugh escapes me. A real, unrestrained laugh. It startles her. It startles me. "Chloe," I say, wiping a tear from the corner of my eye, "I don't build with stolen materials." I walk away, leaving her standing there, her expensive suit suddenly looking ill-fitting and cheap. They coordinate their final effort, a last-ditch attempt at an intervention, at my favorite restaurant, a place of happy memories, now tainted by their presence. They're all there, seated around a large table, their faces a mixture of feigned remorse and desperate hope. Mark, Amelia, Sarah, Chloe. The four architects of my past misery, now united in their shared desperation. They take turns speaking, their voices overlapping in a cacophony of apologies, excuses, and pleas. Mark talks about learning from his mistakes and suggests couples counseling. Amelia tearfully reminisces about family bonds and proposes family therapy. Sarah cries about sisterhood and offers her undying loyalty. Chloe, ever the pragmatist, speaks of mutual benefit and pragmatic reconciliation. It's a pathetic, desperate performance, a final, futile attempt to rewrite the past, to reclaim a place in my future. I listen silently, picking at my food, my expression unreadable. They exhaust their arguments, their pleas, their justifications. The silence stretches, thick with their unspoken desperation. I place my napkin on the table. I stand up. I look at each of them, one by one. And then I turn to the server, who has been hovering nearby, a witness to this bizarre, uncomfortable drama. "Thank you," I say to the server, a genuine smile on my face. The meal was excellent. And then, without a word to the four people who tried to destroy me, I walk out of the restaurant into the cool evening air. The feeling of freedom is intoxicating, like a weight I've carried for 2 lifetimes has finally, irrevocably, been lifted. 1 year later, I'm standing on a brightly lit stage, addressing a packed auditorium at an international technology conference. The company Julian Vance and I built, the one born from the ashes of the Phoenix Project, has not only taken flight, but has soared, revolutionizing the industry. Our innovations are changing the way people connect, communicate, create. The applause is thunderous, a wave of sound that washes over me. I see familiar faces in the audience, colleagues, partners, even a few friendly rivals. And there, in the third row, is Mr. Henderson, my former boss. His expression is a curious mixture of regret and admiration. He gives me a small, hesitant nod. I return it, a gesture of acknowledgement, nothing more. I speak of our journey, of the challenges we faced, the breakthroughs we achieved. I don't mention the betrayals, the heartaches, the pain of my past life. There's no bitterness, no lingering anger, just a quiet focus on the future, on the limitless possibilities that lie ahead. Later that evening, at the awards gala, I'm named Innovator of the Year by a prestigious business magazine. The photographer's flashbulbs pop, a dazzling constellation of light. I hold the heavy crystal award, my smile genuine, my heart full. The confident sound of my heels against the polished stage as I walk to accept the award. The standing ovation, these are the affirmations of a life well lived, a second chance fully embraced. My penthouse apartment is filled with the warm glow of candlelight and the sound of genuine laughter. I'm hosting a dinner party, a small gathering of my new friends, my chosen family. Julian Vance is here, of course, his eyes twinkling with pride. Rachel Levy, Mark's ex, now a successful entrepreneur in her own right, and a close confidant. A few of the other leaders Julian introduced me to, a brilliant scientist, a celebrated artist, a philanthropist who is changing the world one small act of kindness at a time. We share stories, not of betrayal and heartbreak, but of resilience, of triumph, of lessons learned. We support each other, celebrate each other's successes, offer comfort in times of challenge. There's no manipulation, no hidden agendas, no jockeying for position. Just honest conversation, flowing as freely as the fine wine we share. This is what true connection feels like. This is what family should be. A circle of support, of love, of mutual respect. I look around the table at these remarkable individuals who have become such an integral part of my life, and I feel a sense of belonging I've never known before, a belonging that doesn't require me to sacrifice myself, to diminish myself, to betray myself. I'm in my chauffeured car on my way to a meeting when I see them. Mark and Amelia. They're standing outside a luxury boutique, one of the many I now frequent without a second thought. They're arguing, their faces contorted in anger, their gestures sharp, aggressive. Their relationship, built on a foundation of shared deceit and mutual exploitation, is clearly unraveling in a very public, very messy way. They don't see me. I watch them for a moment, a detached observer of their self-inflicted drama. The driver, a discreet man who has been with Julian Vance for years, glances at me in the rearview mirror. "Would you like me to stop, Ms. Sterling?" he asks, his voice neutral. I shake my head. "No, thank you, James. Keep going." As the car pulls away, I watch them shrink in the rearview mirror, their angry, pathetic figures receding into the distance. And I feel nothing. Not a flicker of satisfaction, not a twinge of pity, not even a ghost of my former pain. Just a profound, cleansing indifference. The final thread of attachment, the last lingering echo of my past life, breaks. Snaps clean. I no longer need to know what happens to them. Their story is no longer intertwined with mine. They are irrelevant. The cemetery is quiet, peaceful. The late afternoon sun filters through the leaves of the ancient oak trees, dappling the well-tended gravesites with patterns of light and shadow. I place a bouquet of white roses, my grandmother's favorite, Julian told me, on her grave. Eleanor Vance Sterling, a name I now carry with pride. I talk to her quietly, sharing updates on my life, my work, the happiness I've found. I reflect on the lessons I've learned, lessons about self-worth, about boundaries, about the true meaning of strength. I acknowledge the pain of my previous life, the scars it left, but I also embrace the wisdom it provided, the crucible that forged the woman I have become. Julian joins me, his presence a quiet comfort. He too places a rose on her grave. "She would have been so proud of you," he says, his voice soft. He then reveals something I hadn't known, another piece of his own story, another connection between us. He, too, had experienced a rebirth, generations earlier. Not a literal one like mine, but a profound spiritual awakening after a devastating loss, a rediscovery of purpose that had set him on his extraordinary path. It explained his deep understanding, his uncanny intuition about my own journey. He hands me a small, leather-bound notebook. "She left this for you, too," he says, her journey notebook, her thoughts, her lessons, her own path to becoming Eleanor. I accept it, the worn leather cool beneath my fingers, the final piece of my grandmother's legacy, a legacy of strength, of resilience, of a life lived on her own terms, a legacy I am now ready to fully embrace. The peaceful rustle of leaves around the well-tended gravesite is a gentle benediction. I stand on the balcony of my newly purchased beach house, a sleek, modern villa overlooking the turquoise waters of the Pacific. The setting sun paints the sky in hues of orange, pink, and gold, a breathtaking masterpiece of nature. Julian Vance has retired, entrusting his empire, his legacy, entirely to my care. A responsibility I accept with gratitude, with humility, with a quiet confidence in my ability to honor his trust. In my hand, I hold a glass of champagne, and in my pocket, a set of plane tickets. A solo journey around the world, a trip I'd always dreamed of, but never dared to take. A journey with no agenda, no obligations, no one to answer to but myself. I am no longer waiting for anyone's permission, anyone's approval. I am living my life, fully, authentically, joyfully. I raise my glass to the sunset, the ocean waves creating a soundtrack of endless possibility as the sun melts into the horizon. A toast to second chances, to lives well lived, to the woman I have become, and to the limitless horizon that stretches before me.